You think all these fake tears and guilt trips will make me change my mind?
Fake tears, Toby? You call it fake tears? I'm mourning the loss of my marriage.
The marriage isn't working, Toby said sharply, his hand running through his messy hair. It's suffocating me. Laura let out a bitter laugh. Why would it work? She asked, sounding sarcastic. Why would it when you spend more time outside with other people than talking to your own wife? We've only been married for 7 years, Toby. Just 7. See, woman, I don't want to go on with this marriage, Toby said firmly, his tone hard. It's not by force to be married, you know. Laura gasped in shock, her face a picture of heartbreak. She could feel the weight of the words in her chest. Ah, Toby. She started crying harder, clutching her chest. You're a wicked man. After everything I've done, I chose starting a family with you over my dreams, over school, over starting my own business. I gave it all up for you. Toby laughed sarcastically. Wait, did I force you to do all that? You did it because you wanted to be a good woman. Why are you acting like it was for me? Laura's eyes widened in shock, the pain of his words hitting her hard. Toby, ah, so my sacrifices mean nothing to you? She sobbed harder, her whole body shaking as she cried. Henry, their young son, walked into the room, rubbing his sleepy eyes. Laura quickly wiped her face, trying to hide the tears, and put on a smile, something she had gotten used to doing. Mummy, are you crying? Did Daddy do something to you? Henry asked, his small voice filled with worry. Of course not, sweetie. I'm not crying, Laura quickly said, forcing her voice to sound bright, though it was breaking. Mummy and Daddy are just having an important discussion. Henry looked between his parents, clearly not convinced. If you say so. Toby, who was clearly annoyed, frowned and said, Go back upstairs and get ready for school. But, Henry started to say. Now, Toby interrupted firmly. I don't want to repeat myself. Laura stood up, still forcing a smile, though it was painful. Go on upstairs, dear. When you're ready, I'll drive you to school. Henry nodded and left without saying another word. As soon as he was gone, Laura turned back to Toby, who was looking angrier than before. His fists were clenched. So you're raising our son to rebel against me? Toby whispered sharply. To question my authority in this house, huh, Laura? Laura shot back, her voice filled with frustration. How bold of you to accuse me. You're barely in Henry's life. When you are, all you do is scold him. But somehow you expect him to obey you blindly? Toby's face darkened. I'm not working all day and night, providing for this family, just for my son to disobey me. Then be present in his life, instead of running around chasing after every girl you see in a miniskirt. Laura shot back angrily. A loud slap echoed through the room. Laura staggered and fell to the floor from the brutal impact. Her cheek burned from the force of the slap. Toby was furious, his face twisted with rage. You will not talk to me like that, Toby hissed, pointing down at her. I'm your husband, so you're beneath me. The room fell silent, except for Laura's sobs. The pain from the slap was nothing compared to the emotional hurt she was feeling. Toby sighed, his anger still simmering. Now you're going to cry like I didn't have a reason to hit you. This is why I'm tired of this marriage, Laura. You push me to my limits, then play the victim. I'm sorry, Laura whispered, her voice barely above a whisper, full of pain. Toby looked at her coldly. Have you ever caught me cheating? No, Laura whispered. You see? You've never caught me, but you still search through my messages and accuse me anyway. I'm done with all this nonsense, Toby said angrily. Laura knelt in front of him, her hands folded in an almost pleading way. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have accused you, Toby scoffed. Look at how you raised your voice at me, he continued, his voice dripping with condescension. I work hard to feed you, to clothe you. You contribute nothing to this house, and yet you act like you're entitled. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me, Laura sobbed louder. Toby hissed in irritation. Just go prepare breakfast, then take the boy to school. Quit with the fake tears. He stormed out of the room, leaving Laura on the floor. Her heart was heavy, as bruised as her cheek. When Henry came downstairs, ready for school, Laura wiped her face and put on her mask again, pretending everything was fine. Mummy, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Henry asked, noticing her swollen eyes. Laura forced a light laugh. I'm not crying, dear. But your eyes are red, Henry pointed out. It's just the heat, she lied, her voice shaking slightly. Or is it Daddy? Because whenever he's home, your eyes look like this, and you say you're not crying. Laura tried to laugh it off, though her heart was breaking. This boy will not kill me, she said, chuckling awkwardly. Let's go to the kitchen. I'll make you tea. Mummy, you're changing the topic. Henry, do you want to keep asking silly questions? Or do you want to go to school and become a pilot? Henry's face brightened up immediately. I want to fly planes. That's my boy, Laura said, patting his head as she tried to hide the sadness inside. After a quick breakfast, Laura drove Henry to school. On her way to the market, she realized her purse was missing, so she turned back home to get it. As she approached the bedroom door, she heard groans and moans from inside the room, unmistakable sounds of pleasure. Laura froze for a moment, her heart sinking. She slowly pushed the door open. I knew you were a cheat, Toby. I know. Laura's voice faltered as her eyes landed on a girl in the bed. A student? Precious? Who's not even 16? Toby quickly scrambled to cover himself, his face flushed with panic. I can explain. Laura, you should have called before coming back. Laura's eyes filled with tears as she took in the sight before her. The betrayal stung deeply. Toby? A child? Precious, for that matter? Toby tried to defend himself, but his words were scattered. Why would you come home without telling me? Precious, the girl in the bed, mumbled, what about you and Henry if something happens to me? Laura couldn't hold back her tears anymore. How do I recover from this, Toby? So this is why you want to leave me? Toby knelt down before her, his eyes desperate. Baby, I swear it was a one-time thing. I'll never do it again. I can never leave you because I love you so much, he said, holding her tightly. I only did this because we've been fighting so much, and I've been starved. But I promise it won't happen again. He stood up and hugged her, pleading. Just one chance. Despite the pain, Laura's resolve slowly began to fade. The man before her was still her husband, Henry's father. Slowly but surely she hugged him back, her tears mixing with the pain in her heart. I forgive you. Laura's heart was broken, but she couldn't ignore the man standing before her, and the man who had once been her husband, the man she had once trusted completely. Now that trust had shattered in front of her, and yet there he was, begging for a second chance. She felt the weight of his words sink in as he hugged her, pleading for forgiveness. I only did it because we've been fighting so much, and I've been starved, Toby said, his voice full of regret. I promise, Laura, it won't happen again. Please, just one more chance. Laura wanted to pull away to stop him from holding her, but the pain in her chest was too much. She was tired. Tired of the lies, tired of the broken promises, and tired of the hurt. But in the same breath, she was also exhausted from the years of holding everything together for their family. She knew Henry needed both of them, even though their relationship was hanging by a thread. She stood there for a long time, the weight of the decision heavy on her shoulders. What was she supposed to do? How could she move forward after everything that had happened? Her heart ached, but something in her kept telling her to be strong for Henry, to keep fighting for the family she had always dreamed of. With a deep breath, she pulled back from Toby's embrace. She wiped the tears from her eyes, though they kept coming. I'm not sure I can forgive you, Toby, she said, her voice shaky. But for Henry's sake, I'll try. Toby's face softened, and he nodded. He seemed relieved, but Laura could see the guilt still weighing him down. He had betrayed her trust, and that was something that would take time to heal. But she wasn't ready to give up on the idea of family just yet. She couldn't. Later that day, after Toby left for work, Laura sat down alone, staring at the empty house. Henry was at school, and for the first time in a while, she was left with her thoughts. The day had been full of so many emotions: anger, sadness, hurt. But she also realized something important. She was stronger than she thought. She had been through so much, and though the road ahead was uncertain, she was ready to find a way to move forward. The house was quiet, and as she looked around, she thought about all the sacrifices she had made. She had given up her dreams to focus on her family. She had put her own needs aside, always trying to keep everyone happy. But now, she realized that she couldn't keep ignoring her own happiness. She couldn't keep pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. She thought about the kind of future she wanted for Henry, and she knew she had to be strong for him, No matter what happened with Toby, she could still create a better life for herself and her son, even if it meant making tough choices. She couldn't let Toby's mistakes define her or their future. Later that afternoon, Laura decided to take a walk. She needed time to clear her head and think things through. As she walked through the neighborhood, she realized how much she had been holding in. The weight of it all was exhausting. The constant fighting, the lying, the emotional pain, it had taken a toll on her. But now, as she walked along the streets, she felt a sense of calm. She didn't have to carry this burden alone anymore. When she returned home, Henry was waiting for her. He was sitting at the kitchen table, his school bag resting beside him. "Mummy, what's wrong?" he asked, and looking at her with concern. Laura smiled at him, trying her best to mask her feelings. "Nothing, sweetie. Mummy's just thinking." Henry didn't look convinced. He stood up and walked over to her, his small hand reaching for hers. "Mummy, you don't look happy. Did Daddy say something mean to you again?" Laura's heart broke for her son. He was so innocent, so unaware of the tension that had been growing in their home. "No, Henry," she said, kneeling down to his level. "It's just grown-up stuff. You don't need to worry about it. Mummy's going to be okay." Henry gave her a big hug, and for a moment, Laura allowed herself to feel the warmth of his embrace. It was a reminder that no matter what happened, she had him. He needed her to be strong, and she couldn't let him down. The next few days were a blur of emotions. Toby tried his best to make things right, but the cracks in their relationship were too deep to fix overnight. Laura couldn't shake the feeling that things would never be the same. The trust she had once had for him was gone, replaced by doubt and uncertainty. But slowly she started to focus on herself. She began to reconnect with old friends, something she hadn't done in years. She found joy in small moments, like taking Henry to the park or spending time with her parents. She was rediscovering who she was outside of her marriage, and for the first time in a long time, she felt a sense of freedom. Then, one evening, Toby came home late. He looked tired and defeated, but there was something different in his eyes. "Laura, can we talk?" he asked quietly. Laura didn't say anything at first. She just stared at him, and wondering what he wanted to say. She had heard it all before. The apologies, the promises, the begging. She wasn't sure if she could keep listening to the same things. But she nodded, motioning for him to sit down. "What is it, Toby?" He sat down across from her, his hands shaking slightly. "I know I've messed up. I know I hurt you. But I want to change. I want to be a better man. For you and for Henry." Laura looked at him, her heart heavy. She didn't know if she could believe him. She didn't know if she could ever fully trust him again. But she also knew that holding on to anger and pain would only hurt her in the long run. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Toby," she said quietly, "but I'm willing to try for our family." Toby nodded, his face filled with regret. "I'll do whatever it takes, Laura, I swear. I'll change." Laura didn't know what the future held. She didn't know if their marriage could be saved, but she knew that she had to take things one day at a time. For now, she was focused on healing, on finding peace, and on giving Henry the best future she could. She wouldn't let this one mistake define the rest of her life.